Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking to you about tape measures, what they are, and some special tips and tricks about them, because although they seem intuitive, there's a lot more about them that you may not know and that can help make your job even more quick to do. What I have here today is a 30-foot tape measure. I don't often use it all the way up to 30 feet, but what I do use is very important to me, and it's the same metrics throughout. The first thing that's important for you to understand is how to read it. The main ones you're going to see are the inch marks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but there's a whole lot more that is used. So of course there's the 1 inches, then there's half inches, which is the big mark. Then in between the half inch is the quarter inches, which gets you even more precise. And then between them is 4 more little tick marks for 1/16 of an inch, and the one in between the halves is 1/8 of an inch. So in order, full inch, half inch, quarter inch, 1/8 inch, and then the tiniest is 1/16 of an inch, which is the smallest in between 2 little tick marks. Most of the time, you aren't going to need 1/16 of an inch, but professionals, if you're building a house or you really want to shoot for it, then go as small as you can, because that's going to be the gold standard, is less than 1/16 of an inch or a little bit more, but that's the main thing. So once you understand that, you may think, oh, that's all a tape measure is. It's just inches, quarter inches, 1/8 of an inch, 1/16, but there's actually more measures that it has. For example, it shows 12 inches for a foot, and then it has this big red mark here for 16 inches, and then again at 32 inches. That is to highlight where studs go. So most of the time you're going to be building 16 inches on center. So if you lay this out across the whole line, you just know on 16 inch, 32, 48, you can just draw a quick line right where the studs are going to be. So that's another cool feature with that red mark. It might be a little different color on yours, but on 16 inches, there's probably going to be some sort of a mark. Another one is this black diamond right here. That's after 19.2 inches, and that's used by people working with tiles, because there's a standard layout of tiles that this helps to keep a standard metric every 19.2 inches, so they can just scribe it, and go quick. These metrics and these special ones are going to be all the way throughout the tape measure. Like I said, 24 inches for 2 feet, 32 inches, and all the way up to that 30 feet. And they're very helpful for when you're using it. So learning to just play around with it, sitting with it, opening it up, and just getting comfortable is going to do a lot of help for you when you're on the job site or working on a project, because it's very helpful if you can lay something out and quickly say, oh, that's between half inch, oh, that's between this and this, and say, oh, that's 3.3 and 4/16 of an inch, or whatever you may find. So I recommend just sitting down with your tape measure and spending some time practicing your quick measurements and how quickly can you get yourself to the nearest 1/16 of an inch. I just used my drill really quick and I drilled a screw right into this wood. Often you're going to be using a nail instead, but a screw will work fine. One of the things that you should learn to utilize is the tip of your tape measure. As you can see, it's got a little slit opening, and for most people it seems like, oh, it's just some little design, but when in reality it's meant to be a useful tool that if you have a nail, you just quickly sink it into the wood and you can quickly latch onto it. That head is going to be able to find the opening and just sit in there and pivot nicely, so you can do it really quick. That maybe instead of trying to hold it and balance it from this location, or from right here, if I want to say I want 2 inches away from this, instead of me just balancing it like this, just hook it in 2 inches, boom, you're done. So utilizing the slit in the head for either screws or nails most likely is going to be a really good tip. Another thing, you can see that it has 2 little shapes right here. It kind of goes down, up, down, up. Some people think that's just a design, but that's not just there for fun. It's there for use. And some of the times it actually has a little bit more grooves to it, because what it does is you can use it. So say you need 5 inches from here, line it up. You can go just give it a little scratch right there. It's not going to be much, give it a little more force. And it's not going to be a lot. Then you take your pencil and you know right where it is. So this groove can actually be used as a little bit of a scribe, kind of like a utility knife, to scratch at the surface where you need it to be. It's not going to be the most visible, so you're going to want a pencil. I have a carpenter's pencil here. A regular pencil or a pen works fine, but you can use this if you put a little force and scratch it so you know right where it is without needing to use 2 hands. So again, just do it, 3 inches, got a little scratch mark right there. So that's another tip with it. Another thing that you want to learn about your tape measure is how wide it is. So most of the time it's going to say either on the bottom or behind, like this one. So this one right here is 3 1/2 inches wide. So if I wanted to go like this, it's very helpful. Say I go like this, it's helpful to know if this is 6 inches right here plus another 3.5. Then if I go like this, which you're probably not going to do, but it's still helpful to know that that's 9.5 inches. This is useful in like small areas, like in a room where instead of if you're trying to go between 2 walls, instead of trying to balance it up like this and try and hold it and say, oh, that's about 1 foot, you just go straight across, hit that one right against the wall and say, oh, that's 12 inches or that's 13 inches right there, plus 3.5, so you got 16.5 inches, excuse me. So figure out how wide your tape measure is. And again, this 30 foot is a little bigger with that 3.5 inches here, but whatever yours is, figure that out and learn to do quick math with it. Also, it has a clip on it. Most do, some also have like a hand lanyard, and this just makes it quick if you want to put it on a belt or a clip, and it just slides right on real quick, and as you work it, it'll just balance on there. So utilizing this if you're trying to go hands-free on a belt is another tip to get even faster with your tape measure. Another tip for your tape measure is to learn to utilize the locking mechanism. This one right here has a lock, it keeps it in place, and when it's unlocked, it comes back. So I like to get into the habit of whatever I'm doing sometimes is just lock it when I'm using it. If you do that, you'll be much quicker and you won't need to accidentally have it coming back and trying to catch it. But also, if you don't want to do that, sometimes I'll use my finger as a little pressure so that I can quickly, instead of having to use the lock, I'll just lock it out, put my finger under there, use it as a brace. It doesn't hurt or anything. So that can be a good option, and especially with gloves or something. Another thing that you can do, similar to a speed square, that if you wanted to go 1 inch from here, it's a little hard with these. Let me move this real quick. Get rid of this screw real quick. Say I wanted to do 1 inch, or say 1.5 inches, I could go like this with a speed square, and I could draw that line. With a tape measure, I can do the same thing. Might not be as accurate, but do it a little over the board, so a little over 3.5 inches. Say I want 1 inch here, I can do it, and if I'm stable, oh, that's not great, you can get a pretty good line right there. And it's not going to be as straight as a speed square, but if you're in a pinch, you just want to go quick, say 2 inches right here, just get it, put some pressure, hold it, and most of the time that's going to be fine enough for what you need to do. But again, speed square, really, you can't beat it. So learning to use this, locking it on a board and with a pencil or some other marking tool is another good tip. Another thing you should learn is how wide is your tape measure and how far can it extend in the air. What do I mean by that? So for this one, this is 1 inch wide from here to here. And that means it's going to give me about 8 inches or so of in the air reach, that if I just start extending this out, it's not going to break until I keep going. So I'm at 7 feet right there, and it just broke. This one, 7 feet, it's an older one. So that's a decent distance, and again, that's about 1 inch. But some of the new ones, like a Fat Max, which is 1.5 inches wide, almost like this, that can go 11 feet in the air, and you can just keep extending that out and out without having it break up. So depending on how far you're going to be working, so say you're a contractor, for example, say you want to point out a light fixture to a client up in the ceiling or up far away. If you have a 1/2 inch thick tape measure, you're only getting 4 inches, you're going to be like, oh, here, break. But if you have a Fat Max and you can go 11 feet, you can just point that right out. So the next tip I can give you is understand what your needs are. How far distance-wise, so this one's 30 feet. So how far do you need to go? And also how wide do you need to point in the air, that the point that it's going to break. So if you need a 1/2 inch, which is usually like a 15 footer or something, that's only going to go 4 feet, 5 feet until it breaks, or a 1 inch, which maybe 7, 8 feet, and then they're a little bigger to 20, 25, 30 feet like this, or a Fat Max, which starts at maybe 20, 25 feet and can go up to 35 feet. But again, you're going to get that full 11 feet of reach. So figuring out what type of tape measure is right for you is another tip that I can give you. So do some research, think about how far do you need to go straight and how far do you need to go in the air, then make your choice and purchase it. I hope you found this video useful, and learn some cool tricks, like maybe you didn't know about that 16 inches on center for the stud length right here. Maybe you didn't know about feet every 12 inches or so, whatever it is. Maybe you knew a lot of this stuff, but it was just a quick refresher. So hopefully you found something useful out of this. And if you want more, you can find us at rdawg.com, rdawg.com. Also, if you have any comments or questions, just let us know and we'd be happy to answer. Thanks for watching. Bye.